The embers of the California coalition were barely settled when the ground began to tremble beneath the western strongholds. Word came down from the frontier outposts of an unexpected migration. They were coming out of the woodwork, Marvel vs. Capcom 2 players of the highest order, fiercely skilled, heavily armored, and utterly furious that they hadn't been chosen for the initial clashes. Unaligned, hailing from unknown districts, and commanding their own independent armies on armored warhorses, they wanted in on the war against the East Coast tyrant. Tensions flared as the massive vanguard crested the ridge, but as weapons lowered, it became clear they were bringing an entirely new kind of war to the table. While NorCal and SoCal were fueled by the heavy, rugged, American-made power of their traditional MOS systems, these outlanders carried sleek, humming gear. They wielded Japanese and Korean arcade technology, shorter throws, lightning-fast bat tops, and crown levers that allowed for terrifyingly efficient, instantaneous execution. At the head of the approaching host, animated Nick reined in his warhorse, riding apart from the stick-wielding ranks. Instead of an arcade cabinet layout, his hands rested effortlessly over a modified pad, his fingers blazing across the D-pad and face buttons with supernatural, thumb-flicking speed that left the traditionalists baffled. Flanking the vanguard, Deus Ex and VDO marched their elite divisions in step behind banners bearing the marks of forgotten arcade lofts. Down in the command tent, the atmosphere was thick. Vegeta X slammed his Korean modded stick onto the war table, demanding to know why their district had been left out of the initial defense. Gamer Jim paced the floor, his fingers twitching over imaginary buttons, arguing that their speed-oriented tech was the exact edge needed to crack the Wong Coast's defenses. As arguments threatened to boil over, Go for Broke stepped forward, cutting through the noise with a cold, calculated grin, pointing out that arguing over past slights only served the tyrant Justin Wong. Kodiak and Jacko Man nodded in agreement, already coordinating troop movements with the local commanders, while Charlie Goblin and Lockdown rallied their respective districts to secure the western flank. The ranks shifted and locked into place. Jay Fresh and Strider Zero synchronized their timing with the rapid-fire precision of their hardware, testing the air with blistering assists. Further back, Tri-Fitty, Free Lunch, Josh 360, and Jake the Snake marshaled the auxiliary forces, ensuring every horseman and foot soldier was dialed in. The lines were redrawn. The armies were massive, with the raw power of the heavy MOS sticks, the blistering speed of Japanese and Korean arcade hardware, and the unorthodox controller wizardry of animated Nick leading the charge. The Western forces were no longer just a regional defense. They were an unstoppable, multi-generational armada, and the march toward the Wong Coast was about to begin.